Started your final drawing as well, where you started mapping out the contour lines on the large paper. But what we're going to do is we're going to return to the thumbnails today, and you can go back to your original photo. Let me see if I can make it a little brighter. And now you can start to practice using these techniques on your thumbnail. And I would use the one that you plan on using for the big drawing. Okay, I would do that one. Or if you already started the big drawing, definitely use the thumbnail that was the base for the big drawing. So I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to play around with how I can use hatching and cross hatching within this thumbnail and get some practice with it. So now remember, hatching can be for tone and value, but it can also be for texture too. So I'll show you guys two different ways you can use it. So on these leaves, they are a little bit lighter in the center, and there's a little bit of tone on the edges. So I'm going to do hatching lines, but I'm going to curve the hatching lines like this to show the curve in the leaf. Outline that there. All right, and the inside, I don't know if you guys can see it on my phone screen, but the inside of that leaf is a little bit darker. So the hatching lines are going to get closer together. And if they got really, really dark tone, I could use the cross hatching to do that. All right, so there I'm showing the tone and the value of the leaf, as well as the direction that the leaf turns in, right? All right, also check out the table. So I took a photo of this plant on the table that has like the wood grain, the fake wood grain. So hatching lines will be really good for that. Okay, so I'm going to use hatching lines. I'm going to try to show the wood grain of the table. I'm just being really loose here and using like some choppy hatching lines. Okay, so that's a good place to show texture. The pot that the plant is in is a cylinder, and there's a core shadow here. So core shadow is a perfect place to use cross hatching on the core shadow, because I want to be able to show that it's a really, really dark value there. And then hatching lines on the part where there's a bit of a mid-tone. Okay, how about stippling? Where can I use the stippling? Oh. Yeah, the dirt. Think about the texture of dirt, right? Real granular. And it's very dark. So I'm going to switch to the big Sharpie, and I'm going to do stippling in the dirt. And that's really a good place to use it, because not only for the texture, but you get a totally different type of mark, so that it doesn't really blend in, or it contrasts, or it it clashes up against all the hatching marks that I did in the leaf. I've got a really dark shadow down here, so I might do hatching lines and then cross hatching for the darker part of the shadow. All right, and don't be afraid to try out different stuff. All right, it's just a thumbnail drawing, so if you mess something up or something doesn't look right, then this is a good opportunity to discover that. And you may be like, all right, I don't want to do that on my final because I don't like the way that looks. Okay, you guys get the idea? All right, so use your thumbnails, especially the one that you are going to use for the big drawing, or you did use for the big drawing, because that'll help you translate those things to your big drawing. And if you want to use the other thumbnails as additional practice space, feel free to do so. Just make sure you go back to your photo and pull up the right photo, because you need to be able to see the tones and the textures in that photo in order to be able to reference that when you do your hatching and cross hatching.